crying little.
Yoga.
Now, getting into the second part of the situation that is being talked about with Baltimore, the Real News Network is really the only network that I have seen that has come out with the truth about the lies being spread about Baltimore City residents, majority Black in Baltimore City, who they're trashing their neighborhoods. They're just throwing trash everywhere, and they live in deplorable situations with garbage everywhere. It's like these people are saying trash is just being thrown out of the window or just thrown anywhere, not in a trash can where the waste disposal company can come pick it up and dispose of it properly. That's the narrative that's being put out there, that, you know, Black people are trashing the area. But the Real News Network actually put something out there that I think everyone should listen to. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to take away from the Real News Network. This came about because Trump was mad at Elijah Cummings for going after his boy who is over the situation with the migrants being held in deplorable situations in cages at the border. So he wasn't too happy with how Cummings went after him. So he tweeted out, you know, Baltimore City is rat infested, and, you know, in his fashion, how offensive he is. And he was not talking about it literally being rat infested. He was talking about the Black people who live in that community. But that's how all of this got kicked off too. And then you had Fox News jump on this story. Now, Fox News reported Baltimore City has rats and trash. The residents living in the community do not care about the conditions in the community, throwing trash and litter all over the area. This is where you get the right-wing extremists, Trump-loving white nationalists picking up trash and coming to clean up the neighborhood. They created the problem and act like they are or have the solution. And that's what I wanted you to keep in mind from the first video that I showed in part 1, when I said that these soulless pieces of trash are out there picking up trash that they threw out there. This is a situation that was not created by the residents. This is all lies. The truth is, other residents from outside and affluent jurisdictions are dumping their trash in the area. This is an illegal dumping situation. And when I was looking for further information on this story, I happened to run into a channel called Redirecting, and they did a video, and this video is called "Hundreds of White Volunteers Clean Up Trash in Black West Baltimore." So the title should have told me what it was going to be about, and the channel is called Redirecting. And I'm not trying to drag anyone. The reason why I spoke about this video is because I listened to it. The person who speaks in these videos on this channel is a woman, and her family considers themselves Ivory, which we call Hebrew Israelites, Black people. Not the people over there in Israel right now. We're talking about Black people, and especially here in America and throughout the diaspora. and saying that, when you read the biblical text, it wasn't read by people who should have been reading it. It's not their history, it's Black people history, because we really don't know where we come from. We were stripped of our culture and language, and a lot of the things that happened to us in antebellum chattel slavery are listed in the biblical text, and a lot of things that we go through now is listed in the biblical text. So I myself do believe that we are the Israelites, the actual people. But I don't believe every single negative thing that happens to Black people is of our own doing, and also a curse brought on by the Most High to get us right. A lot of these situations, we're only looking at a surface level, and we refuse to dig deeper when we could have. And that's a problem, because it seems like a lot of these self-righteous white nationalists, there's a lot of self-righteous Black Hebrew Israelites, and I'm not talking about the ones from the camps either. And there's a lot of self-righteous Christians that hold the same ideology about Black people. Because when you go into that video, I heard her speak about a situation which let me know that this was an emotional situation, where I guess a Black person or a few Black people threw trash into her backyard. That's wrong, of course, but she used that to then say, Black people in our neighborhoods, we don't take care of them, we dump trash everywhere. Which is not true, because I live in a majority Black neighborhood and it's not trash everywhere. I mean, to blame Black people as if you saw these Black people dumping trash everywhere, it's asinine, because, it could blow out of the trash truck. It could have been an accident. It could have been a windy day. And there are people who litter from all walks of life. This is not a pervasive issue in the Black community only. When you hear her speak, it's almost like, you're sitting up here throwing a Snicker bar wrapper on the floor. That's why you're in the situation that you're in. And it's not true. This seems like a personal issue. And with other channels that I've seen that are pro-Black or Israelite based, they talk about, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong. And there's nothing wrong with speaking on the topics that are hurting us as a community. But when you have a following and you're informing people, you should dig just a little bit deeper so you can get the information out and the truth out, not based on your biases. And that's what I wanted to do, because something wasn't right about the pictures of the trash that I saw. Something wasn't right about the story, that people are just trashing everything. And then when this person speaks about, Black people litter and this is how we treat our neighborhoods. One reason why there could be littering going on, or people not caring about the neighborhood, is because we don't own shit in the neighborhood. We don't own the houses, we don't own the businesses, we own nothing. We're consumers, and the only thing we own is what we have in somebody else's building that we may rent or are trying to buy to own. And that puts a damper when you can't be economically upright. And Black people are not lazy. I'm sick of that label. There are multiple nations that wouldn't be what they are if it wasn't for Black people. Like I said, when the Twin Towers came down, it was a Black grave, a slave grave underneath there. And that's all you have to know. Once those towers came down, which was a symbol of America's economic strength, what was it built on? The back of slaves or on a slave grave, which lets you know what you need to know. But back to this situation, I wanted to read a few comments. They were really going in on Black people. Somebody put the Deuteronomy 28 scripture in here, of course. There were some people say we as a collective should take care of our own communities. We don't own the communities. We own nothing in the communities except the clothes on our back and a few items that we have in their apartment buildings and townhouses and duplexes and homes that we like I said, that people were talking about Cummings and the local mayor and commissioner should be ashamed, and it goes beyond that. And then another person really got it. They got close. Hold on a minute, don't the Baltimore City Waste and Management, are they supposed to clean that up? That person was on the right track, but and some people were talking about property and gentrifying and redlining. They were on the right track. But there was a lot of people who were saying Black people need to get their stuff together. Black people don't care. Black people are lazy. This is an embarrassment. How do you let your community, like I said, Black people don't own anything in this nation. I wish people would basically stop trying to say like we own stuff in the community. And a person was saying we can't blame white nationalists, which we can. And another person was saying too, we have to point the finger at ourselves. He was saying about these people partying, drugs, alcohol, and sex. That's how they were labeling the people in Baltimore City with this issue. There was a lot of nastiness in here, and people calling, the Black people here foolish, and it was ridiculous what I was hearing. But there was quite a few people who understood it was much more than this surface level story, and it really surprised me that this person refers to themselves as Ivory, seeing how they don't trust a lot of Caucasian people. And I'm not saying that they hate, I'm just saying they don't trust, and they talk about some of the things that happen. So to take this story and run with it against Black people and label Black people, it shocked me. It took me aback because of everything that had been said in other videos, but yet nobody even questioned, the person speaking did not even question was there more to this story or not. And when you watch the video, which I will leave in the description box, I implore you to watch it, and I really would love it if you would subscribe to the Real News Network. If you want something that's balanced, if you want real news instead of, this whole right and left BS that's going on, it gives a really good information and information about our communities as well, because I know TYT, that's so left leaning, it's ridiculous. But there are videos within this one that are showing white residents from outside and affluent jurisdictions dumping boats, electronics, and other waste. And it seems that these people figure because the area is dilapidated, they can illegally dump in the majority Black neighborhoods. This is something that I've seen in my own. They tried to take over the area, raise the rent, gentrify the area. We said, no, we're not moving. We're staying right here. They planted flowers, trees. They stopped all that once we made it known that we weren't going to move from this area. In a different jurisdiction surrounding our area, it's pretty pricey. And what they've done is they've priced themselves out by trying to keep us out. So now they want to move into the area because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of businesses and jobs and everywhere. So they want to push us out so they can take over. So this is something that I've seen in my own area. And the Deputy Commissioner, Jason Hessler, has been speaking about the illegal dumping for a while. And illegal dumping, that's against the law. So these white people are breaking the law and nobody's holding them accountable. Baltimore City council member of District 7, Christopher Burnett, said that he spends 2 days a week walking around West Baltimore at the hot spots, walking through neighborhoods, alleyways, and assessing the illegal dumping. It's so pervasive. So like I said, it's not the black residents, not just Elijah Cummings, even though he owns his part. It's whites from outside affluent jurisdictions, and also President 45, Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy that pals around with pedophiles, son-in-law, Jared Slumlord Kushner, and his management firm, Westminster Management. There's another video in this news report that has Fox News contributor Kimberly Clack, the Baltimore County Republican Committee, and commenter, that film trash that you see, the TVs, the waste, the computers, all of that. But this person lives in Baltimore County, not Baltimore City, and says it's the residents' fault. And of course, she's going to say that if she's a Fox News contributor, that's a part of her getting a check too. And what has made Baltimore City what it is it is one of 3 cities in this nation, that's in this country, that is not connected to the surrounding county. It's a freestanding city. And through segregation laws and redlining, this has caused the horrific economic situation. Because in 1851, the state put Baltimore City and Baltimore County in 2 different jurisdictions. Baltimore, like St. Louis, is a freestanding city. The county, Baltimore County, has no responsibility to the city. So that means it doesn't have to provide waste management and collection. It doesn't have to hold up the standards and bring anything to code. It really doesn't. And the city has no access to the county resources, even though the Baltimore City residents pay taxes. So that's what's causing this problem. This is what's causing the economic situation. This is why people feel like they can dump in a situation, because people have moved. A lot of the places are empty, and the people there are left in this situation because where's the resources to do the waste management and collection and control? Because it's one of 3 in this nation that was redlined. It was redlined off and has no access to any resources. And that's what I mean about digging deeper. This harmed the city economically, and the conditions caused by the segregation laws and discrimination and good old racism. You can see white nationalism strikes again. Underfunded schools and zero tolerance laws contribute to the state of Baltimore City. A resident said there are so many eviction notices, but everyone works, and they work more than one job. President 45, Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy that pals around with pedophiles, son-in-law, is profiting off the conditions in Baltimore. In 2017, there was a class action lawsuit by the tenants living in his properties. The company was using late fees only to evict the tenants. The conditions of the building were not up to code. He allowed unsanitary conditions to go unresolved. So when you're fawning over these millionaires and billionaires and people in power and social positions, you have no idea who they've hurt, who they've harmed, who they've stolen from, and who they've killed to get to where they are. That's why it says you shouldn't be idolizing people, and you shouldn't want what they have and be covetous, because you don't know what deplorable things they've done to get to where they are and get what they have. The hard work bullshit is bullshit, as we saw with the situation with the schools, the cheating, the lying, the stealing of a nation, all of that. Yet we still believe, oh, they're hardworking. Oh, look at these nice people coming to clean up this neighborhood, though they are the one who caused the problem. Create the problem, become the solution, equals look at me as white Jesus. It's ridiculous that we fall for it every time. It's sad. It's sad that even people in the truth, they call themselves, they're in the truth, they're woke because they're on their religious high horse, misinforming people. When you have a following, you have a responsibility to dig a little deeper and to not use your biases and your emotions to tell a bias slanted story because that's how you feel about your own. But back to the guy who was talking about working 2 jobs. I know this all too well because I used to work for the Family and Children Services, and that provide benefits. And benefits to me is what other people call welfare, food stamps, TANF, all of that. And the majority of people who are on food stamps are white, but the majority of people who do receive benefits, they work. A lot of the adults don't get the benefits because they work. The data shows, and everybody in the office knew because it was a part of our training, you have to go through 6 months, not weeks, not days, months of training before you even touch a mock case. But you are told that the majority on food stamps or welfare or benefits, they are children. So anytime someone is talking down, they're talking about taking food out of children's mouths. And there's not a lot of criminal behavior going on. I mean, the last few cases that we saw, big cases, you see who that was. And on the statistic level, what happens is there's a way to code it, and you can code it by race, and that's how they get their statistics on who is receiving these benefits. A lot of white families with 5 or more people, they get listed as unknown, as if they didn't list their race, which they did. You can go back to their past applications and take information from there when they do get on benefits again or renew. And, I saw it personally. It was a case that I had, and it was sent back to me because I corrected it and I listed all of these 5, 6 white people, because that's what they marked on a previous application, and it was changed again to unknown. So a lot of the majority of what you see in unknown, those are Caucasian people. And then with black people, is much less than what you see in the statistics, because what they're doing is they will have, let's say you live in a apartment, and then let's say you move 2 or 3 times in a span of 5 or 7 years, they will not close your last case and they'll open another case. Let's say there's 4 people in the household. So if you've moved 3 times, that means that they will have 3 different cases, and it's showing 12 black people are on benefits, when actually there are 8 mock black people, meaning fake black people, that are showing up because those other previous cases at those address are still active and open. So that's how they mess with the numbers and the statistics for benefits. And a lot of these people work. That's why I said when you see black people getting benefits, you don't know their situation just because they make it look good. They're just taking pride in what they have, and they're doing the best that they can. And a lot of the offenders that I would see, it was McDonald's, it was a lot of the fast food places, it was places like Target, big box stores like Walmart, and they were underpaying people, and their employees were the main ones on benefits and they were working hours. They just weren't getting paid that much, but if they got a pay increase, they cut their hours. So yeah. when you are in it, when you're on the outside and you know nothing about the process, you can believe anything that people put out there. But once you get in it, and that's what I said, I've been fortunate to be in certain positions so I can see the truth and give the truth out there and put it out there. It's much different than what people are telling you, and what the narrative is on certain news networks, depending on which side they're leaning on. And this whole trope about, women getting on benefits, having babies to get benefits, and trying to get the man with child support, all of that is not true. Because if you look at the origin of benefits had nothing to do with Black people. I don't know why people think this nation ever cared about Black people, but there are people out there saying, and I've heard this from a lot of Black men, saying that benefits were to tear apart the family, the Black family, get the man out of the household, she'll get a check, and that's why women think they can be the man in the relationship, and they go off on this tangent, which is not true. A lot of these men were setting up in these women houses, eating the good food that they bought off the food stamps. A lot of these women had them in the house anyway. It's just when the person came in to do a check, they would have the man leave and he would take his stuff. And a lot of people would tell those stories where, he really wasn't gone, So, a lot of that is BS. It's people telling themselves what they want because of their biases. And also, this whole idea of benefits had nothing to do with Black people to begin with. It had to do with white women and abandoned children, meaning that, women were the property of their husbands. And, regardless if the woman was wealthy, the money would go to the man. And sometimes when these men would leave these women and divorce them and marry another woman, they would leave them destitute. And I would implore you to look that up as well. Well, when they would leave these women destitute, that's when benefits really started up. It was for women who were divorced. Some of them were left widowed. They didn't have anything. And that's what the benefits were for. They were for white women who were left destitute or widowed and they didn't have anything. That's how all of this started. This was not created in some lab, like some Negroes like to say, to be a trap in the Black community. That's a fantasy in their minds. And this information can only come if you have been behind the scenes and, you dig a little deeper into the story. But I'll go ahead and leave it with this because I know this video has been long. When the issues were brought to Kimberly Clack, she didn't say shit. She had nothing to say about it. She gave some little general statement in a tweet. Why people are tweeting it. Anyway, I'm going to continue. But honestly, they continue to illegally dump, breaking the law, while blaming the Black residents of Baltimore City. Then they go back to their clean, affluent neighborhoods. And like I said, all of this, people making videos, talking down about Black folks, Fox News, telling this narrative. It's all a big lie. It's all a big hoax. I mean, in the information age, you have too many tools where you can, see these snakes for who they are, these liars for who they are. And if you don't want to do that extra digging, it's because you want to believe what these people are saying about Black people, and you really need to check yourself about your biases. I'm not talking about telling the truth on a situation. I'm talking about your biases against Black people as a whole, and that's what I felt when I looked at that video. But I just wanted to bring the truth of the deep layers concerning the governor, concerning the commissioner, and what they are fighting, and how the resources are not there because of the redlining and the segregation laws from 1851, and how this stuff affects us still today. And to put your biases and your personal feelings and your emotions to the side. And, you can't have a platform and misinform people like that. It's not right. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about this situation and this story. And I will see you in the next one.